Good morning, family. This is Ricky, and welcome to Hope for Today. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We're talking about all things prayer, and the question that we're all wrestling with this week is, how is our prayer life? And what does our connection to Jesus look like in the way of our prayer? One of the things I mentioned yesterday is that prayer doesn't have to be, if you will, performance-driven. God doesn't really care about whether or not you're eloquent, nor whether or not you know every Bible verse in the Bible, right? God cares about you. And we talked about the first feature of a gospel prayer life is the relational feature, that prayer is relational. But as we continue to study this week, the Lord's Prayer, we're going to see another component that I think is just as important as we go down to Matthew chapter 6. Jesus, of course, is delivering the disciples' prayer. I think that's the better name than the Lord's Prayer because he's teaching us as disciples how to pray. Verse 9 goes again, Matthew 6:9, pray then like this, our Father in heaven. And then Jesus says, hallowed be your name. And yesterday we talked about this wonderful invitational aspect of prayer, that prayer is relational. But today I think Jesus is teaching us that prayer is worshipful. Prayer is worshipful. Notice Jesus says, when you pray, he says, say to God, hallowed be your name. That's a worshipful aspect of prayer. The word hallowed in the original Greek is derivative of the Greek word hagios, which is the word from which we derive the English word holy. Jesus is saying, when you talk to God, acknowledge his holiness. The best adjective in our Bible concerning God is the adjective that God is holy, which is a word that essentially means altogether different. It's an arcane way of saying he is perfect, meaning there is no one like him. There's nothing like our God. He is holy. Isaiah 6 speaks of a vision that the prophet Isaiah had of God. He saw God high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. And the scripture says that there are these created angelic beings. I think they were the cherubim in Isaiah 6. And the scriptures say that they have these wings that are covering the presence of God, and that over and over again they are saying, holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. And I heard one preacher say that the idea is that the more time you spend with God, the more he reveals his awesome character and majesty and splendor. So even throughout the eons, these cherubim have surrounded the presence of God, and yet they too are having increasing revelation as to the grandeur and majesty of God. And so in all eternity, we will see new sides and new aspects of the splendor and majesty of God throughout eternity. We will cry out, holy is our God. That's how good he is. And Jesus is saying, in your prayer, you ought to acknowledge it. Hallowed be thy name. My point is this: prayer is relational, so it is casual, but it shouldn't be careless. It is casual, but it shouldn't be careless. In other words, I think when Jesus says, say, hallowed be your name, remind yourself that you're around a king. And I liken this to Exodus 3. God calls Moses. Moses has been on the mount for 40 years, and he's been by that same bush 1,000 times. But in this one particular day, it's on fire, but won't burn away. And what did the voice of Jehovah say to Moses? Take off your shoes, because the ground that you are standing upon is holy ground. And I guess in our prayer, even though it's casual, it shouldn't be careless. That ought to be that aspect in our souls whereby we recognize that this is holy ground. So next time you pray, tell God how good he is. Tell God how holy he is. Tell God how awesome he is. Praise his holy name. We used to sing a song that says a lot of times when the praises go up, the blessings come down because you're around the king. And I just want you to hear this today. The creator of the cosmos, who created the galaxies and the expanse of space and the earth and the world, wants to have an appointment with you. And that ground is holy ground. And that's hope for today. I'll see you next time.